Okay.
Hey, 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 it is Dorothy-Inez, and I am here with my dear friend and former client, Miss Megan LaCasse. Hi, Megan,
Hi.
all the way. And where are you? Tell us where you are.
I am in San Carlos, California.
She's in San Carlos, California, which is in the Bay Area, in case you don't know where the heck that is.
Exactly.
And today I wanted to take the time to interview Miss Megan because I wanted you all who follow me to hear her story of inspiration, how she was able to gain more confidence from working with me, and some of the things that she encountered prior to working with me, and just hearing her beautiful story. So, are you ready? Are you ready to hear from Megan? Because you might find yourself in Megan as you listen to what took place in her life and what was taking place in her life prior to us working together. So let me just tell you a little bit about Megan. Megan and I were grad students at Azusa Pacific University in Azusa, California. And we were studying organizational psychology, right?
Absolutely.
And Megan just graduated, like I did a year ago, with her master's degree in organizational psychology, and we are both organizational psychologists now.
Yes.
So Megan, she was really good because it took me a year to get official. Megan got official in what, 3 months, girl?
Yeah.
She's a little overzealous. It took me a year. I needed a break from that degree, but Megan was all over it. We are both published authors. Published, what do we consider ourselves? Scientists, right? That's what they would say. We're scientists. Look at that, girl.
Yeah.
And now Megan, since graduating from school, Megan now lives, like she said, in the Bay Area, and she is an entrepreneur, and she is opening up her own wine bar called Grafton Harvest. Is that right? Did I say it right?
Graft and harvest.
Oh, graft. And what is the graft?
Graft is a wine term. So, yeah.
Graft and harvest. Okay, because I had Grafton, so I'm wrong. Graft and harvest.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area. So she's co-owner of that. She's like made it to the big time now. And so we're going to talk to her about her journey to the big time. And I really want you to be listening for yourself in Megan's story, because hopefully you will be inspired by the conversation, because we're just going to have a conversation today, and I hope it inspires you. So Megan, you and I worked together, what, about a year ago, year and a half ago, or so ago?
Probably a year ago. Yeah.
It seems like forever, but time is just going so fast, it's like, woo. So tell us, when you decided to work with me, what were you going through at that time that made you say, you know what, I need Dorothy, I need Dorothy-Inez, I need help. Where were you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was in a pretty low point in my life, actually. I had just gone through a traumatic experience, and it left me feeling very depressed, and I had very low self-esteem. I didn't quite know what I was doing with my life. I was in a relationship as well that I just didn't feel completely confident in. At the time, I thought it was healthy, but looking back on it now, I realize that there's a complete difference between.
Right.
Yeah, right. So I was just in a very low point in my life, and I was in school, as you mentioned earlier. So I actually met you in one of our classes at APU. And you stood out to me because of just your positive energy and your outlook on yourself. And I remember in this one class, you just kept saying, a teacher asked you a question, and you just kept saying how beautiful you were. And it didn't come off across as, vain or anything like that. It was like you truly believed you were beautiful. And I never felt that way about myself. And I never understood how somebody could say that without it coming across as, like, oh my gosh, I'm so beautiful type of thing.
Right.
And I wanted that, so I had approached you and I asked you if you could kind of work me through that. So I knew you had this coaching business and I wanted to build my confidence, my self-esteem. And I was just in that place where I was ready to do that. So.
Yeah, yeah. And so how are you, you feeling emotionally? Where were you at, spiritually, mentally at that time in your life?
Yeah.
You kind of talked about being, you talked about a little bit about depression, that you were going through, and, um, not feeling beautiful. Tell us a little more about that, because you and I discussed how that was impacting at the time the kind of relationships you were attracting into your life. It was affecting how you were showing up. Do you remember like how terrified you were about speaking? Do you remember that?
Of course.
Yeah. Get all red and stuff. So tell us a little bit more about how you were feeling, if you don't mind, at that time in your life.
Yeah. Well, I always felt like my relationship with God was pretty strong. However, I always wanted more, and I wanted to learn how to think outside of the box. And that's definitely one of the things you taught me in my spiritual life. But at the time, I felt just very boxed in to religion and stereotypical beliefs and that sort of thing. So as far as spirituality, that's where I was. Financially, I was also very low income. I was a student, so I was living off student loans. I had no money.
Right.
Emotionally, just also drained. I felt drained and depressed and, almost like life wasn't worth living anymore. And that sounds very dramatic, but that's kind of how I was feeling at the time. So, yeah,
I get it. You get to that place, in life where you just feel hopeless.
exactly.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to go take my life or something.
Yeah.
You're feeling like, is this all there is?
Exactly.
And, and I think about all of it, the deep spiritual conversations that we have, because it's like a lot of the women I work with, they come in with a certain level of faith, but they're not putting that faith into action. They're not really believing who God says that they are. So they have these struggles with, how they look, some women struggle with comparing themselves to others.
Yeah.
So, so I totally get that feeling, because I've been there. You and I've talked about it.
Yeah.
One thing about working with me is I'm a pretty open, transparent coach. I share with you guys my journey, because, the thing about having a coach, and I'm sure you witnessed this, is like the coach number one is no better than you are. She's just a little bit ahead of you.
Right.
And I think a good coach is authentic in sharing that. So tell me, what specific concerns almost prevented you from working with me?
There was definitely a financial aspect that I felt limited. As I said before, I was a student, and so I had very limited money to live off of. And at the time I wasn't working. So I was just a full-time student living off student loans. And it was a struggle for me. I debated between, whether or not to work with you because of that. And I felt limited. I didn't feel like I could afford you, basically, because I knew you were valuable and I knew you were worth it. I just didn't think I was valuable enough, I guess, to, or worthy enough, I guess, to come to you. So that was one of the things that I had to overcome, and one of the things that you actually helped me think about finances differently. And I still, to this day, think about finances differently. I don't feel limited no matter where I am. No matter how little I have or how much I have, I always am blessed and thankful for what I do have. And I use that wisely. And I swear, like, honestly, I really try hard not to stress about money anymore, because it always happens to be there. Like, no matter what, I always happen to have money, and I know that's because of God. And so because I know that now and because you've taught me that, I no longer worry about money. And so back then that was one of the things I learned with you, but it was a struggle. I had to take that leap of faith, and I had to make myself a priority because I knew I wanted this. I knew I wanted to feel more confident and just get into a better place in my life. And I thought that was worth it. So I decided to take that leap of faith and, join your clientele. And so it was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest obstacles, Megan, that I get from women, is that, oh, I don't have, and they're so focused on lack, and
right.
They often forget that I was like, who's your daddy?
Yeah.
Who's your provider, right?
Exactly.
And then you learn, like you said, that the money shows up. Once we say yes, God matches that yes with provision. We don't know the how, because when you signed up, we didn't know where that money was coming from. And then the job came, and it was like, and every time you were able to make your payments on time, I can't tell women how many times that happens, is that the moment they say yes, miracles begin to happen, and we don't see them as miracles. We just see those, as coincidences and things, but it's really God's provision. And I'm so glad to hear that how you're showing up in life now as a result of that one-time investment, that's going to carry over with you for the rest of your days.
Yeah.
Because who wants to be, I hate feeling like a slave to money. I can't do this because, I don't have money. That's like the worst thing, is I'm in this place where if I know I need something, I just say yes. And I'm like, okay, like my current coach, I said yes to my current coach. Girl, I didn't know where that money was coming from, but somebody was going to become a client and help me pay for that. I just knew it. Because at the end of the day, Megan, would you agree that it comes down to you having confidence in yourself, number one, that you can recoup that money, number one, and that God's going to provide, and number two is that you're worth it.
Yeah.
You are worth it. You are worth that investment, because the woman I'm looking at now is not the girl I talked to a year ago.
No, definitely not.
Because look at this right here, looking cute. So tell us why, other than the finances, why else, what are some of the other results that you experienced, working with me?
Well, going back to that relationship I was in, I guess that's not one of the reasons I went into coaching, because at the time I thought I was in a healthy relationship, and, that wasn't a problem for me at the time. But during our sessions and kind of working through some of the issues and things like that, I kind of started to open my eyes a little bit more and realize, like, okay, I am a child of God. I'm worthy of so much more, and I have so much potential. And, just kind of light bulbs started going off a little bit. And towards the end, you kind of have a different perspective on life and everything. And so I took a look at, this relationship I was in, and it just, for some reason didn't seem worthy of me anymore. Like I was better than that. And I did know that all along, but I wasn't confident enough to say that out loud or take that step of action, to better myself in my life and go in the direction that I really know that I could go. I felt
something really quick. I don't mean to interrupt, but I will. That's something really key right there, Megan, is that you knew all along. You see, how many women know stuff, Megan, but they don't have the belief, the confidence to make the change that you're talking about. That's a powerful insight that you realize. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I hope I didn't mess up your train of thought, but I was like,
No.
oh, that's good.
Well, yeah, and it is true, because even during that time I was kind of struggling with, is this the right move for me to be in this relationship and everything? But I felt, I did feel loved, and I did feel like he was a good guy and everything. So I just kind of settled for that. And I didn't believe that there was anybody else out there who could love me as much as he did, or, he was the only one who could love me or something like that. That you always have that voice in your head that's telling you these things. Now I'm just like looking at the world like, oh my gosh, I have so many options. What? And I am not willing to settle. I see my worth, and I see what I want, and I see what I don't want. And so now I am not prepared to settle. I've been single for about a year now, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm even more happy being single and living life the way that I want to and everything. And my goal is, once I get established, financially and with my business, once the wine bar is open and all that kind of stuff, and I feel secure and happy with myself and my life, I am going to invite somebody into my life at that moment when I'm ready, and the person that I want, not someone I'm just going to settle for.
Exactly. And then the other piece, to that too, was, you were searching for purpose and meaning in your life at that time as well. And, you had talked about, I think you were wanting to do speaking and teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Something you were terrified of.
Yes.
And you were able to overcome, that fear. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Yeah. And not going to lie, I'm still terrified, but like, I feel like I have the tools now to know that I can do it. I have the confidence to know that I can do it. It's not impossible. I think I just learned through you to relax, basically just like laugh at yourself, enjoy the process, and relax. And I'm not going to say it's not nerve-wracking whenever I have to, speak in public or something like that, but it's so much better than it used to be. As you said, I used to get all red and like flustered, and, you got the cotton mouth going on and everything. So it's definitely improved. It's come such a long way just because of my mindset. Yeah. I have a different mindset with that. And it's only because I know I can do it now. So I'm not as scared because I can do it. And even if I mess up, who cares?
Right. And that's an attitude you didn't have before.
No. No, because I wanted it to be perfect, and yep.
Yeah, and just the whole thing. I remember, like you said, the struggle of, I remember through tears, you sharing with me in the relationship piece, how you thought that was it for you. Nobody else would love you. And you began to see your own beauty and value yourself. I remember when we did your makeover. You remember that?
Yes.
And somebody showed up in her little mini skirt and posted a selfie and put it on Facebook. And how many likes did she get?
A lot.
Yes.
My profile picture.
Yeah. Because that was something you weren't used to doing. And so tell us about that experience, going through, you think you got your hair colored, we did the makeup lesson. Tell them about that.
Yeah. That's actually very multi-layered for me, I guess, because you have the fear of people's judgments, and this, the reactions that people might think that, oh, I'm a slut if I wear a miniskirt, or, anything that might actually make me happy or confident, somebody else might perceive it as something else. And that's what I was afraid of, was just people's judgments. And so kind of once I got over that fear and just determined that, that doesn't matter. What they think of me doesn't matter. What I think of myself and how it makes me feel, that's what's important. So once I realized that, then I was able to go out, put on a mini skirt just for no reason. I think I went to like the zoo or something.
It was the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, a pumpkin patch. That's what it was. I knew there was animals. Yes, there was a pumpkin patch. And so it was just fun. It was very empowering. I had a little photo shoot like in the hay, and it was great. It was liberating, and I didn't care what anyone else thought. So, and as it turns out, people loved it. So you always have this fear in your head that people aren't going to like something or they're going to judge you for it or whatever. But when it comes down to it, typically that's not true at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's that. And then as far as makeup and everything, I feel like I have a completely different perspective on makeup now because I used to wear it all the time to hide myself, to
Mm-hmm.
hide like the blemishes and, the things that I thought were mistakes on my face or something like that. So I used to just cake on makeup all the time and hide underneath that. I wouldn't be able to leave the house without it.
Right.
And so now I am confident in going out with no makeup. So that's one thing. It's multi-layered because of that. But also when I do wear makeup now, it's much more subtle. It's much more natural, except for my lips because I do like a bold lip.
Yes, she does love a bold lip.
I do like a bold lip. So this is pretty neutral for me right now. But yeah, besides that, I feel confident no matter what. I'm just in my skin in general. No makeup, whatever it is. I feel confident going out of the house. Like, this is me. So I think that is extremely valuable because I used to feel like I needed to hide. I needed to, go inwards and like shield the world from something. Whereas now I'm just like, this is me. So, and I'm proud of it and I love myself and that's it. That's all that matters. So
I can tell. And so how has your newfound confidence impacted you currently? Because it's been a year. And I always say confidence, working with me is the gift that keeps on giving. So tell us how, since we finished, because we just talked about like what you went through, tell us how the confidence and this newfound sense of self and joy is impacting your results today and who you are and how you're showing up today.
yeah, I think I am showing up in ways that I don't even realize a lot of the time because it's just come so much more naturally for me now. So just having a positive outlook on life and just smiling and counting my blessings and being grateful, looking in the mirror and, saying all the qualities about myself that I like, who I am as a person and who God sees me as his child. And that's one of the things you taught us to do, are I am statements. That turned out to be very valuable for me. So there's that. And I think it just becomes automatic in a sense that I don't even realize sometimes that I have such a positive outlook on life or something like that. But then other people will comment on it. And that's when I realized like, oh, people see it too. It's not just me. Other people see it and it's rubbing off on them and having a great impact on their life as well. Even though I'm just being me.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, it just continues and it grows.
And how has it, have you noticed a difference at all in the type of people? And because I know you were dating for a little while, the type of men you're attracting in, have you noticed a difference in that area?
I haven't dabbled too much in it since my last relationship, but I did do a little online dating. And I think the biggest difference I see is not so much who is attracted to me as much as who I'm attracted to. So
good. That's good.
yeah. I think it doesn't, yeah, I would say the same types of people honestly are still, coming at me. Just like now my ex, that same ex is still trying to crawl back into my life, but now I have that confidence and that security in myself and just knowing that like I'm a child of God and I don't need him. I don't need any of them. So with that attitude, I just know that when I see somebody that I like and that I want, then I'm going to go after them. So it hasn't happened quite yet, but we're going to get there. And I'm so not worried about it because everything's in God's control. And if he wants that to happen, then it's going to happen. So I'm definitely not stressed about it. I just live my life day to day and I'm completely happy with where I am.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing too, and I think we had talked about this when we were coaching, because one of the things was learning to say no to things in our lives. You remember that? That was huge. learning
Yes.
to say no, because there were times you would, like you said, you would settle or you would say yes to things you didn't really want to do, and
Right.
learning to have that empowered no,
Yeah.
because that's a part of self-care.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a great point. I actually forgot about that.
Mhm.
But obviously, as you just pointed out, yeah, I'm able to do that now because I realized that God has this big plan for me and I have this big plan for myself, you know? So I have this vision for myself, you know, and just like you taught us on our vision boards, you know, go after what you're dreaming for. And so I'm not about to just let anyone come into my life that might deter that or, you know, set me on a path that I don't want to go down that same path that I did before. You know, I have learned my lesson and I don't want to go there again. So I'm continuing on where life brings me joy. So,
Beautiful. And I want to ask you we're almost done, but there's one question that just kind of came up, because one of the things I know that people might fear about working with me, because you've mentioned God several times, I mentioned God. Tell them what that experience is like, because some people might think, oh God, she's going to
yeah,
be some religious,
right,
teacher or whatever. She's going to be forcing religion on me. So for
right.
women who may have that concern, because you were kind of in that place where you were just tired of religion,
Mhm.
but you had that faith in God. Tell them about your experience working with me as a spiritual mentor.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I definitely was stuck in this religious box, you know, labeled as a Christian and whatever that entailed, whatever that label meant as, you know, a religious aspect. Whereas I was interested more in just having a personal relationship with God. And for me, that's what was important. And I didn't quite know how to get there. Um, you were definitely the one who mentored me in thinking outside the box and doing my research and kind of looking at the aspects of every other religion as well, you know, to see God, because he's not just in Christianity, he's everywhere. And so there were a lot of things that I took out of that. I definitely became a lot more open-minded
Mm.
through that process. Um, and I like that about myself now. You know, I question things. I don't just believe whatever somebody tells me. I go ahead and do my research and, you know, and I develop my own opinions, and even things that you know, we've had discussions, and even things that you might believe, I'm still like, I don't know, you know, but I am able to have my own relationship with God and ask him, you know, directly, you know, what should I be thinking about this, or, you know, that sort of thing. And that's really what I wanted. I just wanted to, you know, worship my God because he is my God. But at the same time, like, your coaching is not revolved around religion or anything like that. You know, you work with people of all kinds, like all kinds. And I've met some of your other clients who aren't Christian, you know, so you're definitely versatile. And you don't pigeonhole and you don't pressure and you don't do that sort of thing. We just have that connection because we are both, you know, kind of have similar faiths and backgrounds and stuff like that. So that's where we connect a little bit more, but you definitely aren't pigeonholed into that, you know, thinking.
Right, good. Yeah, because a lot of women might think that, like I said, like, oh God, she's Christian.
Yeah.
Which I just love, like we said, um, learning from other people and getting you to do your own spiritual work. Don't take my, remember we were sitting on my couch and I'm like, don't take my word for it, Megan, go
Yeah,
do your research, right?
exactly. Yep.
So that's what I say. Do your work, girl. So, um, the last question I'll ask you is, what did you enjoy most about my coaching style? And what do you think people need to know that are considering working with me?
Great question. I think I enjoyed your consistency. That's one of the things that I lack in myself, and I needed accountability and I needed consistency, and you always showed up for us. You were always there, and you were there even outside of office hours, you know, like we've had so many conversations that just weren't even a part of the real coaching session, but we've just connected and had those conversations, and you were willing to take that time with me. And, you know, so that is personally what I enjoyed about it. But as far as the more structured side of it, I think you had a lot of insightful knowledge. I think one of my favorite things was the science that you had to back up your points, like the water and the glass. And, yeah, that was one of my favorite things. Is that a lot of points you gave were very eye-opening, and because they were scientific, you know, it wasn't just like all fluffy and like out there. It was very tangible, very doable. The homework assignments that you gave actually worked. You know, if you did it, like, you have to do it. You have to be proactive and, you know, do the things that you tell us to do. But everything you gave us, there was a purpose for. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate you taking the time today to share with the women that are listening. I hope those of you listening that you got some inspiration and you got some more insights about what it's like to have a coaching partnership, coaching relationship with me. I really do care, as Megan can tell you. Megan, not only, it's like, I don't know how it happens this way, Megan, but I become friends with pretty much, I'd say 97%. I only had one that I didn't click with because we become so close, because this is such deep and intimate work. You know, I even remember us going shopping and you doing your little, getting you new wardrobe pieces and stuff. You know, I become friends, not that I want to market being my friend, but right. I'm just saying that that's the kind of relationship, that's how much I care about my clients. And so, and the work that we do, as Megan is telling you, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Once you become confident, once you learn the tools that I provide you, you can apply those tools till the end of your life. You can teach those to your children, your daughters, your sons. It's just beautiful work. So thank you, Megan, for your time today. And I wish you well on the new wine bar, Graft and Harvest in the Bay Area. And hopefully I'll be seeing you in August when I come for another Prince event.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us.